Hey gang, welcome to the Crucible Chronicles, the space between, also known as Limbo, also known as the Forgotten Chapter. So there is no chapter that you're going to be viewing here. Instead, it's going to be a couple of episodes with a little bit of gameplay analysis, which I hope will be interesting. What I've found are some games of my own, some old games of my own. In particular, today we're going to be looking at a game from September 2019 that, for whatever reason, I saved the VOD for on my computer, and we're going to have a look at it. I will also say, obviously, I'm not recording from my normal location, so apologies for the lesser quality in terms of the audio. You may be able to hear a little bit more noise. It's about 90 degrees here. We got the windows open. It's lovely, just absolutely beautiful. But it doesn't necessarily work the greatest for recording clean audio and stuff. So as I said, we're going to be doing just a couple of episodes, probably 2 or 3 episodes here, where I'm going to review kind of some of my old games that I have access to, the recordings, and we'll just see how I played back then, see if maybe I played better. Who knows? Maybe I played better back then, and I should take some lessons from that. But what I'm hoping to find is that there are ways that I've developed as a player that will be apparent in this gameplay. So let's hop into today's game, and I hope you enjoy. All right, let's hop into this. So it looks like I'm playing my triple shard deck, the Drab Spelunker of Panic Sets, and if I get my mouse out of the way here, I'll tell you what we're playing against. Looks like Cucker, Counselor Ice, Thompson. I will have a link to the decks in the video description below. What am I looking at here? Let's go ahead and pause just for a second. Actually, it doesn't look like at this point in time I could pull up the Archon card, which is interesting. This is definitely not sealed, so it just must have been before I could do that. Well, this is actually a pretty interesting lead for this deck. So of course this has three shards in it, 2 of which are currently in our starting hand, and probably this is something that nowadays I'd maybe like to hold on to. It's a little bit of a bummer because I don't know, there's no real creatures to throw down with this, but being able to get 2 of the 3 shards down out, one of them being the Shard of Knowledge, definitely is pretty powerful, I'd say. So we'll see what I do here. I will say I did take a peek at our opponent's deck list. It did look pretty strong. I think there's a library access, double control the weak. It's either 2 or 3 succubi, I guess, if you will. Interesting. So I opt to go with Mars. I think nowadays I probably would have opted to go and get either of the shards down. Probably more likely that I'm going to want to get the Shard of Knowledge down. So whenever I go back to Logos, I could do that. So I think that's probably what I would do going forward. Or I mean, if I were in this position now, I think I like that. Opponent plays double Fogify and then throws down a Titan Mechanic. Actually, not a terrible turnaround for us. So we've got Cold a Week, Shard of Pain, Hecatomb. Might be tempted to do that now because we can deal with the Titan Mechanic. It is definitely a little bit of a bummer. We got the Shard of Knowledge sitting down there with the Interdimensional Graft. Graft probably isn't going to get us a whole lot of value unless that Titan Mechanic stays alive here shortly. Yeah, I think probably I would just go Dis, move some cards, get that Shard of Pain down. Play Cold Week, and it looks like that's what we're doing. And Hecatomb for the Ember Pip. So we got picked up 3 discards off of that. So that's interesting. That's interesting. Got the Bloodshard Imp and Schuler. Let's see if our opponent gets up to 4 Ember. Play a Charette. There's 1 Succubus. And Control of the Weak back into Mars. Well, I guess there's not a whole lot to say here. We probably Mother Gun. Let's see if I remember to Mother Gun. Mother Gun into that Succubus and throw down the Mind Worm. At least that's what I'm thinking I would play right now. Maybe I haven't realized yet that I've just got Control the Weak. Yeah. We'll have to excuse some slower play. I haven't reviewed this beforehand, so I'm kind of watching this fresh. You'll be able to get my fresh impressions. Look at this. You can see I'm like, man, I want that ember. Give me that delicious ember. And we're gonna get some sweet value off this misery exploit, aren't we? See if I sort that out. Because the Shard of Pain, right? I could actually put another damage on the Succubus, which is probably good. I could also put 1 damage on the Charette and get an additional ember from it. From the misery exploit, that is. Alright, our opponent is hopping into a library access turn. It looks like we've got library access, lab work. Oh, here we go. We'll take a look. Look at this. We're just taking a... Oh, you know what? I'm about to spell this completely wrong. There it is. There it is. Go more. You can do it. Oh my gosh. 84 SAS. I don't think it's still rated at 84 SAS, for what it's worth. SAS changes haven't been particularly kind to this deck. But it definitely has a lot of stuff going for it. Didn't really see what happens to end off that turn. There's at least a Positron Bolt. Again, this is obviously pre-recorded video that we're looking at, so I can't even interact with the cards. We're just kind of going to be along for this experience. Looks like I've opted to go Dis. Let's see what I do. Hey, look at that. Going for the value with the Misery Exploits. We'll play the Schuler to steal an Ember, take our opponent off check. Yeah, I would also play the Bloodshard Imp. Make it a little more difficult for them with the Succubus. And then Misery Exploit for 2. So we're just kind of plodding right along here. Hoping to maybe bait a little bit of value out of the informational, the interdimensional graft. Definitely have a nice little Logos hand set up for us. And actually we can clear this whole hand, so that's nice. Get our second Mother Gun down with the Helper Bot. Opponent's going with check. Ooh, Shadow Self, that's a bummer. Shadow Self, Urchin to steal 1, Pawn Sacrifice to kill the Urchin, take down our Bloodshard Imp. Put some damage on the Schuler, so that's a pretty nice turnaround. Not a whole lot we can do about that, but we do get some value out of the graft, it looks like. You can see a young Mort. I guess you can't see. I've got my video over the video from the recording, but there's a young Mort, so much hope. A 2019 Mort, so much hope in his eyes playing this game. Boy, man. Mort, if I could tell you about 2020, sheesh, it'd be a lot to say. It looks like we're playing out our Logos here. Play Mother Gun off the Helper Bots, play out Shard of Knowledge and Interdimensional Graft. So we're going to get 1 Ember off of that, care of our opponent. That's pretty nice. I've just drawn in some interesting Mars here. We've got Extinction. So we could use that to deal with... I actually know what I do here. Maybe I Extinction the Shadow Self and then Mother Gun the Succubus. That might be pretty good. Of course, now we got our Logos set up over here to thrown back into our hand. I think I still like this Mars turn. You can deal with almost the entire board. All right, so let me pause this really quick, talk through what I'm thinking here. We've got really 2 options, right? I don't think this is a great option right now. If you go Logos, you get to draw 2 cards, so that's definitely pretty solid. I get to draw 2 cards. One thing to note about this deck that I'm playing is I think there's like 8 artifacts or something, so yeah, there's just a lot to get out onto the board before it becomes super useful. So we can definitely see a lot of cards if we do that. If we go Mars here, we don't get to check. I don't think we're probably not getting to check with Logos either. I mean, we could rocket boots on the helper bot. That's like a short-term value, but obviously rocket bootsing Sutterkin would be nice as well. I still think that right now I would pick Mars in this situation because you can extinction the Shadow Self. Well, you can start with Mother Gunning the Charette, which I think will actually kill it because it has 1 damage on it. Then you extinction the Shadow Self, and then you can then use the second Mother Gun on the Succubus, which only needs 2 damage, now that the Shadow Self is gone. And then you can play the Carpet Flotsam for value, for the Ember value throughout your Agent Human. Now that gets us to, let's see, 2 off of Charette, 1 off the Carpet Flotsam. Only puts us up to 5. So a little bit of a bummer, but it deals with our opponent's whole board, which potentially could be useful going into a Logos turn where we drop down Sutterkin with the Rocket Boots. So let's go ahead and unpause here, see what the young Mort decided to do. Hovering over Mars, we did it. We did it. All right, so we got Mother Gun. Put all 3 onto. Wow, this is could I have called it? I'm telling you, I promise I did not watch this video beforehand. Let's see if this would be the true question. Do I extinction the Shadow Self? I do. Nice. Good job. Good job, young Mort. Use the second Mother Gun to take down the Succubus. Carpet Flotsam. Play it, Mort. Play it. Get rid of the cards. Play them. I got the Agent Human coming down as well. Let's see what our opponent can do about that. Our opponent is, I think, sitting on a second Control of the Week as well. So some interesting stuff could happen there. Could be bad for us. At least we have cards from each hand. I'm trying to think if there are Ember Imps. I want to say there was an Ember Imp or 2. Our opponent throws out Old Bruno and Nerve Blast. And then Skeleton Key onto Old Bruno. Man, they really don't want us to be doing stuff here. I think this is probably a Logos turn. You get some good card draw, 2 cards off of it. They're not on check yet. You get to threaten the Sutterkin with the Rocket Boots, which is pretty sweet. So I think this deck has a unlocked gateway. So actually probably not a great play to Wild Wormhole first, because that could just immediately end our turn. Now, honestly, if we we hit the unlocked gateway, even afterwards, it's definitely that sad. But probably at least should have reaped with the helper bot. At least reaped with the helper bot before playing that Wild Wormhole. But it seems like we got a little bit lucky. I'm thinking probably right now, do I want to get the double reap off of this helper bot? And I think probably playing it on Sutterkin is the right call. Our opponent can deal with it probably pretty easily. But I mean, that's a pretty decent threat. Being able to draw 2 off the Shard of Knowledge and then potentially 4, maybe more off of the Sutterkin is pretty strong. All right, Hand of Dis comes down destroying the helper bot. Definitely making that Sutterkin a little bit less potent. I got this Ember Imp. Control the Weak into Mars. Okay. So that works. Well, it looks like everything on the board's dead. Let's see if I play this right. I mean, I guess I can just play the Orbital Bombardment. Yeah, I think if this is just to use the Mother Guns situation. Use the Mother Guns to kill both those creatures. Our opponent has done well, of course, to put themselves on check and put us into a house that isn't going to do a whole lot in terms of Ember control. But board control is pretty good. So it looks like we're going to get back to check. I don't think there's too much to protect in this deck. So, but if there is, it'd be a surprise. It'd be a surprise for all of us. Yeah, plan the orbital bombardment for those value plays. Oh, what are you doing? Oh, killing the dust imp. All right, well, I didn't see it. Hey, I didn't see it. I probably would have just not done that. Given us more options in dis. Now we have the Shard of Pain, which actually won't allow us to kill the dust imp, because the Shard of Pain is only enemy creatures, sadly. They're back into Logos. They got the Bouncing Death Quark, Spectral Tunneler going down, 3-down Quixo as well. But we're definitely heating things up. Definitely heat things up with our shard situation. So the question is, what do we do here? I mean, I can definitely see some value for getting the Lash of Broken Dreams down. I think that would be good. The Schuler feels like a little bit of a bummer. But maybe I'm thinking we get the Lash down, probably ditch the Ember Imp, because I seem to be the only person who's going to be reaping this game. Our opponent seems like they've got a deck that can just kind of play cards out to generate Ember, which is not this deck. Yeah, I think this is a discard of the Ember Imp. The question is, do we play the Schuler? Play it. Oh, what are you doing? What are you doing, Mort? Get rid of that Unlock Gateway. Oh man, I probably would pitch that now. Opponent doesn't have anything on the board. Granted, we don't have a whole lot to deal with. Well, I mean, we got the Shard of Pain. We got some good creature control actually. Shard of Pain, the double Mother Gun. Succubus is back out. Man, those Succubus are brutal. I probably want to get to check here. And I think the only way to do that is through Logos with that Eureka. Logos, let's see, play the Eureka game. Oh, there goes the Library of Babel. All right. We get the Shard of Knowledge to draw 3 cards. Oh, here we go. So we can throw it on the Titan Mechanic. Potentially get a cheap key, so that could be good. What do we put underneath that? Unlocked Gateway? I don't know. I think maybe the Shockworm would have been a little bit better underneath there. Like unlocked, or maybe the probably not Schuler. Probably the Shockworm. Wait, what? Oh, Mort, why'd you discard that? We could have had a cheap key. Oh, silly Mort. Played the Titan Mechanic. Could have been great. Although it looks like it wasn't going to matter. They're going to steal us absolutely into oblivion. Alright, looks like this is going to be a dis turn for us. Dis turn, yeah, they stole us down to... oh my gosh, down to 1! Sheesh, look at that. Urchin, Relentless Whisper, Last Job, or One Last Job, Skeleton Key. So they didn't steal us down, they stole slash... Man, that is something. Well, yeah, this is definitely a dis turn. This is like, I think even September of 2019 Mort knows that this is a dis turn. That Cutthroat isn't going to do anything for me. We can kill that. Schuler to steal 1, and then we got a Lash, right? That's it. That's it. Man, that was a brutal set of Shadows cards that we just played against. Yeah, I think we get Schuler, maybe Dust Imp. I don't know. To me, I don't think that even a Schuler is going to be enough if we draw into it. 'Cause they're sitting at 8 Ember. We do have Cutthroat, but maybe if we had Cutthroat. We did draw the Schuler though. What I probably should have done is grab the helper bot, because cutthroat helper bots and potentially into Schuler, and we do get to draw 3 off of the Shard of Knowledge. So that could have been a potential out for us. Now we do have. We could do it in Dis again. Could definitely do it in Dis again. Got nothing in the draw pile. We could potentially draw into it with Shard of Knowledge. Use that lash. And just fight. Yeah, so let's pause this really quick. I don't know, I'm hovering over the discard a card. That seems insane. What are our options here? So if we reap with Shula, we get back to check. So that would be probably good. Allowing our opponent to draw a card off of Doc Bookington is probably not great. It definitely gives them more options, and we're definitely running out of steam here. So I think maybe this is at least reap. Probably just reap. Reap with the currently existing Schuler and throw it on the Dust Imp. Definitely a little bit of a bummer the Shard of Pain can't be used to sack our own Dust Imp, because that would feel a lot better. I could fight the Schuler and then Shard of Pain the Dust Imp. And the Mulligans, not so much of a problem. Yeah, I think I could see this both ways, because they have. I think you can see me hovering over the Skeleton Key. If I leave that Doc Bookington out on the board, A, they can call Logos and Reap and draw a card, or B, they can just it gives them one more option, because then they can call Shadows, and even if they don't have any Shadows cards or Shadows creatures, they can steal one. Man, the Succubus comes down again. And Control the Weak. I think that'll probably seal the deal right there, huh? Yeah, we got busted by Control the Weak. So they cycled back through to that. Did pretty well to get to it. See, the Mother Guns you can use to kill your Dust Imp. Let's see if I do it. Yeah, do it more. Do it. Wow, so efficient, only selecting 2. Probably nowadays I would just totally overkill that Dust Imp, use all 3 cards. Interesting that I opted to play the Harvester and then the Agent Human. I think probably putting the Harvester on the flank is going to be a little bit better in this case. But anyways, that was that game. Definitely an interesting match. I think the Control the Weaks in this deck were pretty brutal. At least the last 2 were well timed to put me into. I think it was the last 2 that put me into Mars, which this deck just doesn't really have any way to deal with to do Ember Control on Mars. So that's pretty good. Honestly, not really something that I think we can play around with this deck super well. I guess the way to play around it is to make sure you can get a lot of value while playing Mars. And I think we did pretty well to do that. Having the Mother Guns down was useful. We kind of lacked having any type of real board presence with creatures. But ultimately, I think the goal of those Control the Weaks was to make it so I couldn't take our opponent off check, which they did really well to make that happen and kind of determine that based on my deck. Yeah, so I think definitely there's some plays that I would have played differently, and realistically, kind of in this exercise, I was just playing, talking about different decisions that I made in the moment, or given these exact same circumstances, the decisions I would make now. Realistically, it's sort of a tough comparison, right? Because KeyForge is a game of so many decisions, and any one decision, even just a house call early on in the game can make for a completely drastically different game state later on in the game. So I don't think in this case it was any one specific decision that determined the fate of this game, but certainly a culmination of several decisions and some great play from our opponent. But hey, I hope that this was interesting to you. This is the first time I've ever done anything like this. Do let me know in the comments if this is something you enjoyed. It could, I could also see some value to, like, if people want to submit a recording of a game that they played and just have me run through it with kind of just like taking the game state that you're currently in throughout the game and kind of putting my spin. I won't even necessarily say expert analysis because I don't consider myself an expert, but maybe just a different perspective on your gameplay. Certainly it is very interesting for me so far, just to kind of like look back and be like, wow, holding on to that unlocked gateway, for example, like I probably would have discarded that, and then ultimately deciding to put that under the jar goggle. Probably would have not done that. Opted to put like the shockworm, I think it was, under the jar goggle. That way, if on the next turn I needed to use the unlocked gateway, I could do that and then play. Basically get that shockworm on the board from jar goggle being destroyed. But yeah, hopefully this has been interesting for you, and I will catch you all next week. We have at least one more of these, this little limbo series, maybe two more, and then it's going to be on to some mass mutation stuff, which I'm super excited for. So I will see you in the next video. So long.